Hello, welcome back to Meakashi. We're heading into chapter 10, the big 10-0. 1-0, not 10-0. That would be 100. That we probably read. No, I mean, obviously we haven't read 100 chapters, just we're only on the fifth arc. I don't know what I'm talking about. I guess I'm a little sleepy. Though, I don't know, every time I load up this visual novel, the opening jump scares me. Just for this one. I don't think I've been jump scared by the other ones. Just like the first second. I don't know why. It always gets me. So, it's an alright wake up call, which is good. Last time I said this would be kind of a fun chapter, and it was. It doesn't. I don't think there's gonna be any more fun stuff. We've crossed the normal point of where the spooky and insane stuff happens. We're seeing Shion's mental state slowly degrading, kind of because of Keiichi, just because she feels like he's taking over Satoshi's spot. Um, we got so yeah, that's happening. We got some answers to the one of the mysteries of the noise in the tool shed, but not really. um, I don't know. I'm almost ready to just give that also a paranormal stamp. Just right now, like I said, the only thing that has the paranormal stamp is like Rika for me, just because I don't think there's like a good explanation for her knowing all the stuff she does. No, like especially from Hima Sabushi, I think that really highlighted that. Like you can still say paranoia or something like that, and I think it does kind of work because yes, they're super stressed, and it makes sense that since they're in a sort of dangerous environment or they think they're in danger, it's natural for someone to think someone's following them, but like we've seen the footsteps like what stomp jump around either as a warning to get out or don't touch that or notice me. So I don't know, that was a little weird. Can't really think of a good thing for that, so we'll just put that down. um yeah, so we should be at the part where now that we're in the Teichi era, we're starting to see stuff that we've seen in Watanagashi, just from Shion's perspective. Surprisingly, they skipped all the scenes with Shion and Mion dressing as each other in the early ones. I thought they would give those just to confirm some of the switcheroos at the beginning. But I guess in the end, it doesn't really matter at the beginning. It's more about the later switcheroos. Obviously, the biggest one is like who was Keiichi talking on the phone and that one. So if my memory is correct, I believe this is like the chapter, at least in Watanagashi, where Mion confronted Keiichi about going into the shed, and then then she says she's gonna go punish Shion or something. I think that's when we're gonna see a moment. Either Shion will get captured and put into the dungeon. Like I said, Shion could have done it, but there's also the fact that she could have actually been in the dungeon, and then when Mion went to like kill her, like let's say Mion somehow went crazy, um, Shion kind of turned the tables in the last moment and pushed her down the well thing. That could be an answer to that without Shion being the main thing, though. Like I said, it just points to Shion being sort of the mastermind of the killings. So on the chopping block, we have like Oryu first, I think. Or actually, she doesn't need to be first. She doesn't really have a time of death, though it has to be earlier than like Satoko and Rika, I think. Maybe when like Mion brings Shion over to the house, Shion does that. Who knows? Who knows if Shion even killed them? Um, Also, that what's his name, Kimiyoshi, I think is also has to die. At least for confirmation, we know that Shion didn't kill Tomodachi and Takano, which is fine because it made sense that Shion's not the culprit in all of the arcs. So it would make sense that she didn't kill them in this arc, if that made sense. So yeah, we should see how that goes. Probably some... This might be like a super intense confrontation, or it could not go the way I think where Shion kind of goes full crazy. But we're sure to see that soon, so let's just get right into this. Continue. Ah, the party. I know we told someone at the party. I don't remember if it was in Higurashi we told. No, that was in Higurashi, I think. I don't remember. My relatives gathered at the Sonozaki house after the festival to have a little party. Well, if Keiichi calls, then we will know which one it was. Or it could have been on Higurashi. I don't remember. I mingled with my uncles and had fun. So Shion's just going. I thought she wasn't allowed in Hinamizawa. I wonder why Oryu changed her mind. Maybe Mion already killed Oryu. Or she died some other way. And that's why they're being so lenient. But one of the conditions was Shion not going to Hinamizawa. Though I guess I did say that maybe because Satoshi disappeared. They're being kind of lenient with her. Though no, this doesn't have to be in... Never mind. This... Well, yeah, I'm guessing it is Hinamizawa, but it could have been in Otonomiya. No, it's in Hinamizawa. Actually, no, never mind. I don't know. Whatever. I was trying to get rid of my eerie memories of the ritual storehouse. Mion was acting as the successor, so I tried to stay away from her. I'm sure she would feel weird if I talked to her in a formal way. In consideration of the old Heide's age, we ended the party around 11 p.m. So, Oryu's still alive. That's good to know. At the Watanabe. So this is still the Watanabe day. We all helped to clean up, with the women washing the dishes in the kitchen, and the men folding the tables and putting them away in a storeroom. So yeah, this is definitely Hinamizawa for Oryu's here. I thought it could have been like a get-together in Otonomiya, but... I mean, if they're at the festival, it doesn't really make sense driving all the way back. It took only about 30 minutes, then everyone left, one after another. By then, Mion was no longer acting as the Sonozaki successor and was back to being her normal self. Man, if Mion's not the crazy person that, like, kills everyone, then there's, like, literally no downside of liking Mion, so that could be cool. Though, I still don't hate the idea that she could have been a culprit for the first murder. Because I think we can clear Shion at least for the first 3, because she was away for the 3rd one anyways, and it sounded like she didn't know about the first 2, and I'm just gonna trust her thoughts, even though I've referenced the Akasaka moment where you couldn't really trust her thoughts. But I will. And I don't think she's in the 4th one, even though she has an alibi. But she's literally writing in her notebook. Why would she be trying to bait us not to think about her if she's, like, jotting it down? So, yeah. Maybe I overexerted a little. I was lying on the tatami floor. Kasai asked me if I could get in the car. So I told him I'd rather not move anymore. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of risque. School? Gross. School's anniversary? I don't think we have ever had a not a vacation. What's it called? A holiday. Can't even. It's alright. My brain's powering up. It's the first 10 minutes for the school's anniversary. Though maybe there are celebrations. Maybe for, like, university, but definitely not for a high school or elementary school. Or is that just an excuse? Good one.
じゃあ笠井さん、シオンは今夜はうちで預かります。
Right, Mion asked in the morning, so at least they're not cheese at her yet, so that's good.
わかりました。
Unless that was Mion faking it, Shion faking it out. I don't think so though. I really do think Mion was the one who asked about the storehouse stuff, since it seems more to her serious vibe.
ではよろしくお願いいたします。
But I guess you can never really tell with the Sonozakis.
ほらシオン起きて、ここで寝てるとバッチャに怒られるって。ほら肩を貸すから奥に行こう。私の布団貸してあげるから。ありりおね。
That's cute. My alter ego told me that I'm in a demon's stomach. I wouldn't have woken up if I heard that voice. If I hadn't heard that voice, I might not have woken up at all. Ooh. I see. Maybe they find out about the storehouse incident right now. Because obviously that notebook was saying that she would have gotten killed if she didn't wake up here. I didn't remember much after that. I was probably brought to Mion's room and immediately crawled into the futon. After a while, Mion got her futon ready next to me, turned the lights off, and went to sleep. At least that's what I thought. I got up and turned the lights on. Mion's futon was empty. Ooh, this might be spicy. Okay. The futon felt cold. Mion must have left it a while ago. Did she go to the bathroom? No, the closest bathroom was right there down the hallway. The light in the bathroom was off. Where did she go? The ticking of the clock was loud and annoying in this silence. The hand pointed to a little before 3 a.m. Hey, that's when I went to sleep last night. Actually, nowadays it's usually 2:30 to 3 a.m., so I feel you. I was left alone all of a sudden in this late night. I felt the eeriness of the ritual storehouse coming back to me, after almost managing to forget it in the ruckus earlier. I tried to sense my surroundings. In this house, there shouldn't be an eerie atmosphere, strange noises, or footsteps. Well, I mean, if it's the Higurashi, this is the night they do their stuff. And I want to say it's not Tomodachi and Tomodachi. I don't think Takano dies, but remember Higurashi, that random body that was killed. maybe they are just killing random people and they're just hiding it really well. Because like if you're killing someone, you might as well hide it well instead of like every year the bodies are found fairly easily. So that could be something. Though I'm feeling we might finally get a choice for our bad end or not. I mean, we should be getting one soon. This feels like should I snoop or should I leave or something like that. These are all new scenes, I believe. The only time we were in the Sonozaki house, we just saw the tea room or whatever. Why don't we just... Well, I mean, I guess her notebook just did say if she did just fall back asleep, she might have died. Though maybe they're preparing the Higurashi sacrifice to be her. That would be messed up. Maybe she was like drugged. That's why she was so sleepy. I don't know. I want to say no, but... I stepped out into the freezing cold hallway to look for Mion. Maybe it is. No, it doesn't make sense for Tomodachi though. I do not know. Because they found his body a lot earlier than this, right? When I did, I immediately noticed light coming from one of the nearby rooms. The room belonged to the Haid. The Haid went to sleep early and woke up early. She was very strict about her bedtime. So it was strange to see her light on in the middle of the night. I could hear voices too. Those voices belonged to the Haid and Mion. Uh-oh. We're gonna hear something, maybe something juicy or maybe something Shion might misunderstand. I think those are both two things. As long as they don't name drop Satoshi, I don't think Shion's gonna go crazy. But it could happen. I creeped up to the room and listened to their conversation. Since it was the middle of the night, I could hear their words very clearly. What we got?
しゃあもねえやんな。あんの赤いのもちょい出張りすぎやったんや。
まあね。お社様のお怒りに触れたんだから仕方ないしね。
They are talking about Tatsuno and Tomotachi. But it sounds like they didn't do it. They got what they... it could have been. I guess that is the way they deal with stuff. The not directly talking / ordering about it. Mion's voice sounded as cold as the one I'd heard down in the torture room. I held my breath.
警察は調べとっちゅうとろんが、すっとろん間違いなあかんね。
多分ね。高野さんだろうね。
Boom, boom, boom. My heart almost stopped. Oyashiro-sama got angry. The police are investigating. It's probably Takano-san talking about the burnt body. That's why there's a probably. And what day was it today? Those words told me that something was happening. My teeth started to chatter. I desperately tried to stop them. I felt like my... Hello, train. I felt like my body was swelling up suddenly. I could no longer hear as well. Calm down. Breathe. Listen more carefully. According to Mion and the Head's conversation, another incident definitely took place. The victims were Tatsuno-san and Tomotachi-san. From what I could tell, both Mion and the Head thought it made sense that whatever it was happened to them. No. I needed to think more calmly. They did say they deserved it for making Oyashiro-sama angry. Did they say Tatsuno-san and Tomotachi-san made Oyashiro-sama angry? How did they make Oyashiro-sama angry? That's also the interest. No, that's alright. We'll leave it. Let's try to not talk too much. They knew. My body started to shake. They knew we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Then that would mean Keiichi and I were also subject to Oyashiro-sama's curse? Suddenly, a phone rang. The phone was by the front door. The front door was opposite from the Head's room farther down the hall. The ringing echoed throughout the long hallway. It sounded so eerie, almost like it was coming from hell. That was when I felt someone behind me. Pray for our boy Tasai. Oh, no. Never mind. Obviously, this is the present. Of course. Of course, there's nobody there when I turned around. But there was someone there a moment ago. I didn't know if it was Satoshi-kun. I didn't sense any emotions, so I couldn't tell. I also didn't know how long it had been there. It was as if that somebody was watching me listen in on their conversation. That was the feeling I got. It couldn't be Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun would never be that intimidating or scary. My mind turned all red, like it was suffused with blood. Oh, God. That spooked me. You're spooky, Rena. Also, I still need stuff with you, Rena. All my aids are in the Rion theory. Though I wouldn't be surprised even if they don't directly show it, as long as there's a sliver of hope and they don't literally like show who actually did it with 100%, I will continue to believe that theory.
ひたひたとずっと足音がついてきて、夜は枕元にまで立たれて見下ろされる経験。
I remembered what Rena Ryugu had said on that rainy day.
そうならばみーちゃんは大丈夫。お社様には怒られない。
If Oyashiro-sama wasn't angry, nobody would follow me. So what did this mean? Ever since we snuck into that shrine storage, something has been following me? What is it? Well, that can't be the reason. Because obviously, I doubt Satoshi. I mean, I guess it's just if he gets angry, so Keiichi must have did something else. But Keiichi didn't even get in trouble. I mean, he didn't get followed when he entered the storehouse, so maybe it's something Shion did beforehand. Or she could have been just misunderstanding that Satoshi was the one following her. Something like that. Calm down, calm down. That's right, Rena wasn't talking about me. She was talking about Satoshi-kun. That's what happened to Satoshi-kun.
サトシ君が体験していることは全てお社様のたたりの前触れなの。
That's right, that's why he encountered the curse of Oyashiro-sama.
誰かが遠くからじっと伺っている。誰かがずっとつけてくる。
A creepy feeling crawled up and spread across my back.
誰かがいつも自分のすぐ後ろから見ている。やがて足音は常に自分とずれて一つ余計に聞こえるようになるの。
I swallowed loudly. It was almost as though Rena Ryuru was predicting what would happen to me. Had Rena been talking about Satoshi-kun back then? Or had she actually been talking about me?
やがて後ろのそれは自分の家の中にまでついてくるようになる。
I think she's talking about herself. Or like I said, well, I don't know. We haven't actually seen Rena and Satoshi's interactions, but I guess Rena did come and get Satoshi-kun, so maybe they were friends. My initial idea is what she stole his diary. I wouldn't put it past her.
そしてお布団に入って明かりを消してもずっと枕元から見下ろしてるの。ただただ黙ってじっと。
I knew by now that there was no mistake. No matter how I looked at it, she had been talking about me. Yes, me. It had been about me. The curse of Oyashiro-sama. What is the curse of Oyashiro-sama? That was when I actually felt something for real. Someone grabbed my collar. Is it actually Kasai this time? No voice came out. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was open and close my mouth as if something was stuck in my throat. Oh, no. That's... Okay, that's bad. I thought it was Kasai like, yo, we gotta get out of here, but it wouldn't really make sense. That's a spooky Mion. She looked even colder than how she looked in that underground torture room. It only made sense that she'd come out into the hallway to answer the phone. I tried to come up with an excuse. However, the way Mion looked at me was so cold. Well, I guess I could take back my, there's literally no downside to liking Mion. though I wasn't forgetting the fact of her super high level dedication to the village. Even if I really had run into her by accident, I could tell by the look in her eyes that she wouldn't believe me. I felt cold sweat all over my body. I couldn't even move my fingers.
ごめん。
I apologized. I could have said something to get myself out of the situation, but the apology came out first. But Mion didn't appear to hear me. She walked to the front door, still holding my collar. The phone was still ringing. A normal person doesn't usually let a phone ring so long at this time of night. I mean, I wouldn't answer a phone at 3 a.m. Though I guess it's different for them. The phone call itself didn't seem real to me. Mion picked up the phone.
ミオンです。そうですか。わかりました。
Cold
そちらの
Mion.
対応はよろしくお願いします。それから一切の口封じをよろしくお願いします。
Probably hushing it.
ええ。
Hushing the news or whatever.
では。
Mian put down the phone after a short conversation. What did she mean? Made sure nobody talks about this. Who called anyway? Mian put her forehead to mine and spoke to me. I thought she like yeeted her out of the door. Whoa.
聞いてた？
Hey, CGs. I feel like we haven't gotten a lot of CGs. I usually take them for thumbnails. Though I don't know how... whatever. That's a spooky one. Wearing their casual, normal clothes we see all the time to bed. That's a shame. Where's the pajamas? How can you sleep without comfy pajamas? Which conversation was she asking me about? Well, she had to be talking about the one with the head. If I said yes, what would happen to me?
知らあ何のことかわかんない。
Mian pulled my collar and pressed her nose on mine and continued to speak.
聞こえた通りです。
Wish they would show that. That sounds real spooky.
富武さんと高野さんがお社様のたたりに遭われました。本当にお気の毒なことです。
It was like I was talking to myself in a mirror. But what I was saying in the mirror was ever so cold.
おねお社様のたたりって何です？
富武さんは自らの手で喉をかきむしってお亡くなりになりました。高野さんは遠くの山奥でドラム缶に詰められて焼き殺されたそうで、実にお気の毒です。
Tomotachi-san clawed out his own throat until he died? What? Tatano-san was burnt to death in an oil drum? What? What? I felt something furry crawl up my spine. I also felt like my stomach was turning upside down. I didn't feel any strength in my legs. If Mian let go of my collar, I'd probably collapse on the spot.
なんでそんな死に方したのかな。
わかりませんか、シオン。
I'm asking you because I don't know.
わかんないよ。
理由なんて一つしかないじゃないですか。
Please don't talk as if I already know the answer.
何の理由かな。
My heart was pounding. I felt that my next breath would be so bloody and hot that I'd choke on it.
そんなこともわかんないのですか？
It's because they made Oyasho-sama angry. The first year, it was the manager of the dam construction site. The second year, it was the traders to the village. The third year, it was the pacifist. The fourth year, it was the relatives of the traders. I'd always thought the victims were people who had something to do with the dam conflict. Since I didn't do anything against the village during the dam conflict, I assumed I was safe. I should have known. I should have known everything would be the curse of Oyasho-sama. I knew Oyasho-sama's anger was the curse of Oyasho-sama. I knew Oyasho-sama would get angry if I snuck into the ritual storehouse. But since I wasn't held responsible in any way for the dam conflict, I never thought I would be a victim of the curse. Did I ever think there would be an incident in the 5th year? Did I ever think that I'd be the victim of the 5th year incident? Tomotachi-san snuck into the storehouse, and he clawed out his own throat until he died. Tatano-san was burnt to death in an oil drum. It must be a lie. It couldn't be true. I guess they don't know the time of death, though, because we know that Tatano should have been dead when they snuck into the storehouse together already, so obviously that's not the reason why she died. Though, again, I don't think the Sonozakis did it. It kind of sounds like they did. It's hard to say. I don't think they did. Mien's just saying it feels like they didn't. Even if it was forbidden, it was just a space for storing some old torture implements. How could they be killed for just sneaking in there? How could they be killed? especially in such gruesome ways. But I thought about it again and realized that those people were absolutely capable of doing things like that. The main Sonozaki family was capable of it. The Sonozaki family had been pulling the strings but sat behind the series of mysterious deaths. They could do it. The Sonozaki family even kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction during the dam conflict. They could do it. That they did. The Sonozaki family made Satoshi-kun disappear completely. They could do it. That's not... That might make things worse? I don't know. I feel like Shion's gonna go crazy because of that. We know Satoshi is her weakness, but it also unlocks Super Shion, which has the potential of being stronger than Transcended Keiichi. We haven't seen the full power though. Mion leaned against me before falling onto the cold hallway floor. She collapsed rather violently. I usually didn't go to sleep with my stun gun. Oh, I thought she pushed her. She used a stun gun. Well, we know, somebody used a stun gun on Keiichi, I'm assuming. I mean, whatever. Again, don't make assumptions. I mean, I'm assuming it's Shion, but somebody used it. I mean, one of the Sonozakis used it. But since I was too tired and sleepy to get ready for bed, I still had it on me. That was good. I had my stun gun on me. I finally understood. I didn't know who killed them exactly, whose idea it was or who ordered it. I didn't even know who was actually involved. But Mion and the Haid knew everything. Satoshi-kun. Now I finally know. Now I know what I need to do. I will settle the store for you, Satoshi-kun. Well, this might be where Oryu dies. I mean, if Oryu takes a stun gun, she might actually just die because of how old she is. I won't be killed like you, Satoshi-kun. Let's go. I walked into the Haid's room. Okay. She was sitting up to take some medicine. Her back was turned to me. Mion and I are twins. If I acted like her, the Haid wouldn't notice the difference. I didn't think she ever suspected me. I put my stun gun to her neck and pulled the trigger. Well, I heard an indescribable electrical sound and the Haid's lights went out. She fell in a twisted position. I didn't know how long it would take a person to regain their freedom of movement after getting knocked out with a stun gun. So I had to restrain them before they woke back up. I was unbelievably calm. The key to the underground torture room was in the forbidden drawer that only the head of the family can access. Miana told me about this once. I never looked for the drawer before, but I found it exactly where I thought it would be. The key was on a keychain with several of its sisters. Each key had a little plaque on it that said what it's used for. They were all in Mion's handwriting. She was an idiot for being so conscientious, but it sure helped me out. I put the keychain in my pocket and headed to the outdoor storeroom to find a cart. I found a large flashlight there as well. There was a strap on the flashlight so I could put it on my shoulder. That way I'd have both hands free to carry Mion and the Haid. Well, this might be fun. Fun. Fun for Shion. I loaded Mion and the then blah, 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 blah. Calm down. Take a sip. Not the time to mess up. This is more fun time. I loaded Mion and then our grandmother onto the cart and carried them to the underground torture room. I was prepared to use the stun gun again if they woke up while I was working. But it was more powerful than I imagined and the Haid showed no signs of waking. Yeah, she's like super old. This was the stun gun Kasai specially ordered for me when I told him I wanted a powerful one. I remembered him telling me that it was a illegally modified stun gun and that I should never use it just for fun. I used my flashlight to find the light switch. I found it easily and turned it on. All the lights went on in the basement. Although there was now illumination, it was very dim. I moved quickly as to finish what I needed to do before they woke up. I decided to put Mion in a cell beyond the torture room. Well, okay. The lights in the torture room were so bright that it was like daylight. There was a door there. I was fairly certain the cells were on the other side of the door. That door. The proper key was here. The keys made a tinkling sound. I felt cold air coming in through the gap in the door. There must be a huge opening on the other side. I opened the door and saw nothing but darkness. I felt along the wall to find a light switch. Ah, little cells. I know how this is looking and it's totally setting it up, but until the last minute. I mean, even if it is, I guess we can even flip the thing where Shion does do everything, but when she goes to kill Mion. Actually, no, it doesn't make sense because Mion was confirmed dead at the well, so never mind. But yeah, it's definitely looking like Shion. Probably time for some revenge torture on the head. I turned the switch on, and the light bulbs lit up, revealing a huge rocky cave. But it doesn't. I mean, I guess we'll see. It didn't look like a natural cave. It looked more like an air raid shelter. There were several hollow openings with bars across them. Those were the cells. I walked up to the closest cell and checked to see if it was strong enough to confine her. I pushed and pulled on the bars. I ran against them with all my weight and decided they were perfectly sturdy. This was secure enough to be called a cell. I opened the lock and carried Mion in. I wasn't particularly strong, just average. I'd never thought I was strong enough to carry my whole person. This is so, it's like Shion's taking the domineering position. I'm wondering like what the bad ends could be, because it seems like she's in complete control. I guess like maybe if somehow the Sonozaki family found out about her, they'd probably just bop her. Like I'm sure this is probably she probably can't come back after doing all of this, so she might as well go all in now. Did I skip that? I might have. I never thought I was strong enough to carry a whole person. But now I didn't need to pretend to be weak. I could easily lift and trade their bodies. I put Mion in the cell. She seemed to moan a little. I didn't need to check to make sure the effect of my stun gun was wearing off. I closed the bars and turned the key in the lock. Then I ran to the head, who must have been starting to wake up too. Yeah, again, she's ancient. Fortunately, there was no sign of her regaining consciousness. Maybe the difference in age had to do something with it. I'm sure it is. I looked for a table to restrain her on. I found a wheelchair with restraints for the hands and feet. I put the head in it. Of course she didn't resist, but her dead weight made it seem like she was a huge French doll, but one made of flesh. That's a weird French doll. Okay, I put her hands on the arm set and restrained them at the wrists with the metal rings and hinges. I did the same with her feet. This must have been a wheelchair specially remodeled to restrain a person. Other than restraints, it was a regular wheelchair. I waited for the head to wake up. I had so many things I wanted to ask her. I didn't think she'd answer honestly, but I had plenty of tools to make her talk. I was in no rush. When the head had a concern, relatives took care of the problem. That was how it worked in the Sonozaki family. Wouldn't it be funny if she just died from the stun gun blast? I'm so calling that, like, a modded stun gun and, like, a super old lady. She was the leader of the family, so all the information they gathered would make its way to her. She must know everything that happened in Hinamizawa. And I guess she can't... This couldn't have happened... Obviously, I don't think this whole Shion thing happened in every arc, right? It wouldn't make sense. It could make sense. Not in the last one, obviously. I mean, it's not like we see anybody but Keiichi and Satoko for a while. None of the club members, so it could happen. In the first one, if she's working with Rena, it could also happen again. I mean, I do think I think about that partnership, but who knows? Let's just get moving, huh? I heard a noise from the cell. Mian must have woken up before the Hage did. Speaking of the Hage, she didn't seem like she was about to wake up anytime soon, but she was restrained even if she did, so I had no need to fear. I left the Hage there and headed for the cell.
シオン、これは何の真似ですか?
She talked like the successor, but she also sounded frightened. She obviously understood the situation she was in right now.
おはよう、ミオン。まさか自分が閉じ込められることになるとは思わなかった？園崎家当主代行として命じます。ここを。声色に一つ凄みが欠けますね。当主様はもっと傲慢な言い方をしなきゃね。もっともそういう言い方ができたとしても、今のあんたは滑稽なだけなんだけどさ。
There's nothing funny about it, but I wanted to intimidate Mion. My laughter echoed throughout the cave. It was artificial and meaningless laughter. I heard it over and over as it echoed. It sounded as if I wasn't the only one laughing. I couldn't stand it, so I stopped. Silence filled the air. That silence almost hurt my ears, so I started to speak.
富武さんと高野さんが今年の犠牲になるとはね、思わなかった。高野さんのドラム缶に詰めて焼き殺したってのもなかなかやるね。
Well, it doesn't have to be. Could have burned it after death.
ま、あの人はそういう死に方を自分で希望してたっぽいからね。結構満足してるかもよ。
Mion didn't say anything. She just stared at me to see how I'd proceed.
富武さんの自分で自分の喉を引き裂いたってのは何？意識をおかしくさせるような怪しいお薬でも注射したの？
Yes, of course, the shot.
それともそういう死に方に見せるような道具でもあるわけ？
Mion didn't reply. I was smiling boldly, but I had become impatient and finally kicked the bars. It made a violent noise. Mion jumped as if she was kicked directly.
返事がないと退屈です。私を怒らせるとどんな得が？私が知るわけないでしょう。
Mion finally replied. She was odious, but at the same time sounded pitiful.
ねえ、ミオン。次期当主様。ここまで来ちゃったんだから教えてくださいな。
I just had too many things I wanted to ask her. I wanted to ask her about me, about the incident, about the curse, about Satoshi-kun. I didn't even know where to start. Before I asked her about those, I asked her one other thing.
私に対して反抗的な態度をとっても何の得にもならないこと。理解し。
Mion glared at me silently. Because we were twins, I knew that was just a bluff.
もうここまでやっちゃった以上、私も引っ込みがつかないんで。お姉も私に容赦とか躊躇とかそういうものをあまり期待しない方がいいかもです。
Yes, Mion must have been feeling the cold sweat on her face. Although the light was dim, I could tell she was frightened.
じゃあ聞くよ。ひなみ沢村連続開始事件。通称お社様のたたり。これってどういう意味があるの？やっぱりダム戦争のけじめってやつ？私は多分そうだと思ってる。
Mion sounded a little confused, but she answered. I felt satisfaction now that we were communicating. I continued with a smile.
思ってるって言い方が少し頼りないね。そのあたりの事情は詳しくないの？シオンだって分かってるでしょ。次期当主なんてバッチャの取り次ぎに過ぎないよ。
Yeah, right.
その当主様と意思を疎通させて維心伝心なのが次期当主様の役目でしょ。取り次ぎに過ぎないなんて信じると思う？いつも身近にいる私だってたまにバッチャが何を考えてるのかわからない時があるもん。何でもかんでも私が理解してるわけじゃない。じゃあお社様のたたりってのはあいつが全部独断で決めてるわけなんだ。次期当主様と相談して決めてるのかと思ったよ。やばい話は全部バッチャが一人で決めてる。私なんか預かり知る余地もない。でもばあさんの独断だとしたってあいつはあんたを介してやり取りしてるわけでしょ。そのあんたが何も知らないなんてあるはず。違うよ、私なんかを介していない。私にだってよくわからないんだけど。
Bruh, dude, I'm so tense right now. I'm just trying to let it ride.
私が
Let's
陽
just
の部分を
let's just
取り継いでると
experience
したら
this, huh?
陰の部分を取り継いでいる誰かがいると思う。誰？その影の部分の取り継ぎって。知らない。誰かを招いて話してるとことか電話をしているとことか見たことない？強いて言えば毎年お社様のたたりの時期になると連絡量がどっと増える相手ね。わかんない。心当たりなんかないよ。
Mian shook her head.
まあいいや。じゃあ質問を変えるね。今年のたたりの富武さんと高野さんはダム戦争に直接関係してないのになぜ犠牲に選ばれたの？やっぱり西宮殿に忍び込んだから？
As soon as Mian heard the words ritual storehouse, her expression shifted.
西宮殿に？フルテ神社の西宮殿を犯したの？ありゃ、知ってるとばかり。そんなことをしたらバカ、当然だよ。
So that wasn't the reason. I mean, again, it's like I don't think the Sonozakis did it, though. It's kind of sounding like maybe Oryu is somehow involved. But we know Mion isn't doing it. I think I'm gonna believe her again. Always at 90% with Mion, just because she's good at acting. But she does seem kind of spooked right now. So Mion muttered bitterly while shaking her head repeatedly. Mion's reaction made me realize the true meaning of the forbidden storehouse for ritual implements. The ritual storehouse is a sacred building, so nobody can go inside. The curse will fall upon any who disobey. Any child would know that rule. However, just because they knew about it didn't mean they all believed in it. Although they were told they would be cursed, most of the kids actually enjoyed hearing the stories. They simply didn't believe it was true. However, Mion's reaction told me it absolutely was. If they actually did that, of course something would happen to them. She was saying as if someone snuck into the ritual storehouse. That person should be killed.
私がこっちに帰ってきて以降、たまにミヨンとは認識が食い違いますね。そりゃ私だって西宮殿が迂闊に入っちゃやばいとこだってのは知ってますけど、あんな死に方しても当然だってほどやばいとは思わないんだけど、私たちだってその程度の認識じゃなかったでしたっけ？それはシオンがよく知らないだけだよ。すみませんね、よく知らなくて。説明をいただいてもよろしいですか？そりゃシオンの言う通り、子供の世界ではヤバいとかたたりがあるとか言ったってどうせ迷信に過ぎないだろう。でも大人にバレたらかなり怒られるんだろうなって程度の認識だと思う。でもね、ひなみ沢の古老たちにとってはそんな甘いものじゃないの。
Miana explained to me how the elderly people blindly believe in Oyashiro-sama and how sacred the festivals are to them. It's probably something the younger generations would never understand, but they're possessed by a very strong, deeply rooted devotion towards Oyashiro-sama. Mian then went on to tell me about how sinful it was to violate the rule of the ritual storehouse. I just couldn't believe things like that were still going on, even in the modern day. I couldn't even reply appropriately. But even if it was unbelievable, I couldn't ignore what I was hearing from my twin sister.
なるほどね。でもさ、ミオン。たたりで一人が死んだら、それを相殺する意味で一人を生贄にするのがルールじゃなかったっけ。生贄の死体は出ない。なのに今回は二人とも死体が出ちゃってるんだけど、そのあたりはどう見る？
Mian doesn't know that besides Tatano-san and Tomotachi-san, Keiichi and I also snuck into the ritual storehouse. So I tried to lead her a little.
確かにおかしいね。高野さんの焼死体は見つかっちゃいけなかったってことなのかな。本当は高野さんは失踪ってことになるのがパーフェクトだったのかな。あるいは自信はないけど。何？根拠なんかいらないから言ってみてよ。怒らないから。
Mian hesitated a little first and then started to speak.
西宮殿に忍び込んだのは実は4人とか。
So she knows the number but not the people who actually did it.
それでもう2人は生贄ってことで鬼隠しになってるんじゃないかな。
Dun dun dun. That's the break? Oh no. Come on, that's a ball buster. Yeah, but it's 1:40 a.m., huh? This is weird. So then my idea that Mion was the one who asked Keiichi if he snuck in the storehouse could blow up? That would also be funny. That would mean Shion was the one talking to Keiichi all the time while Shion was technically missing, and then when Keiichi name dropped Mion, she went crazy because of how funny that was. That would be kind of funny. Alternatively, no, because unless Mion escapes, then that means Shion did go to Keiichi and say, "Oh, I'll punish Mion or Shion for this or whatever." Obviously, something has to happen for well, I mean, if Shion wants to keep this up, she does have to take the role of Mion for a bit. And I guess Mion has to pretend to be Shion for a bit. Though you think they would break their roles at the climax, but I guess they didn't. It's hard to say what's going to happen, but this has been pretty intense. I'm really enjoying it. Wonder if Oryu's dead or not. I feel like she could literally just be dead still, just from the taser, but we might get some Oryu torture, which is interesting. I don't know how she would take it. I feel like, again, she's probably more fragile, so her and Kimiyoshi might not take too much pain. Then, if this is all Shion, we have to know why she targets. Well, I want to believe she targets Kimiyoshi and Rika, because they're all head of the family, and maybe she's like, oh, maybe the three heads decide the curse stuff. And obviously Satoko was more of an afterthought, but I'm sure she doesn't mind killing Satoko. But yeah, this is intense. That's one of the most baitiest chapter ends I've seen. Though maybe I just power through it in like the later parts. But this isn't even the climax, which is great. Lots of intense moments, loving it. We'll see. I'm assuming Shion does become a monster, but it's kind of weird. She had that notebook thing where she said she might have died if she kept sleeping, but it didn't really seem that way. It's not like Mion knew about it. Maybe like about her sneaking in. So like, what was the actual? Sorry, stretching a bit. What's the actual danger of things? But who knows? Who knows how this will go? I assume the head's going to die. Shion's going to take Mion's position, and we'll see how that goes from there. See the game plan. Another possibility is Shion kills the head by accident. Mion escapes. But it's so weird. I don't think that's possible. So I think Shion does pretend to be Mion and addresses Keiichi in like Mion's super cold manner, but also meets Keiichi in the library as Shion. Just a lot of variables. I'm sure it will get stringed together more clearly, but right now it's floating in the air because obviously it's also been a while since I've read Watanagashi, so not everything's connecting super perfectly. But next time we'll see. Hopefully you had a good one. Obviously next episode will be Monday next week. What a way to end the Saturday week episode for Higurashi. I'm sure that was exciting, and we'll see how exciting it is. See if Shion really does go crazy, because right now she's being pretty logical, but when she starts torturing or she starts getting desperate for information about like Satoshi and stuff, we'll see her go crazy. Like through this whole thing. I mean, even like when she was mocking Mion in the cell, she did still seems pretty hesitant. So she seems pretty human right now, not a demon. So yeah, excited to see her descent into madness, and I guess we'll continue. Well, I'll continue it tomorrow probably. Don't really want to linger on this, but yeah, see you guys next week or whenever you watch the next video. But good night, good day, whatever. Have a great one, and see you later.